We've been part of Embrace since the very beginning when it was a secondary site with Cornerstone. The church was started not long after the birth of our triplets, and that in itself was very meaningful to me because Jacob was deployed the year before. We were gearing towards moving over to Lee Scott. I was pregnant with triplets, obviously without my husband there. And so that was a hard time for me, and I needed a lot of support during that time, which came from what would be future Embrace members. Once the triplets were born, just the outpouring that we received of just coming and holding babies, feeding, doing a load of laundry. We had a small group that adopted us and provided a meal once a week for the first year of their life. And it sounds like that's not much of anything, but we knew that that was one meal that we didn't have to think about. And it was such a blessing to us. And just I can't repay everything that people did for us. I tried to keep a list, and I just lost track after a while, just because of the outpouring that we felt from this church.
And I think for me it was very humbling as well, just not needing to be the perfect family when people came to help, welcoming others into our brokenness. Here is the messy house and the stacks of laundry and the stuff that needs to be done, and nobody was put off by that.
And that speaks volumes to the character of this church and the mission of this church. And I've seen it time and time again, not just our family, but other families. We're all broken people, and I've seen time and time again where this church has stepped up to help people.
So about 4 months ago, we started talking and praying about how we can be intentional about supporting the building campaign. And one of the first decisions that we had to make as a family was whether I would continue in my military service. I had the option this summer to retire from the Army, and it just didn't make sense to have that additional income stream and give it up in the midst of a building campaign. So as a family, we met and decided that I would continue my military service. And that is a sacrifice, not only for me, but for the whole family, because it's really difficult on Aime and the kids when I have to go away on weekends. I'm gone for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. So everybody in the family sacrifices in order to make that possible. Some other things that we've looked at is we've deferred new purchases. We've been saving for some large items, and have just decided we're going to put off purchasing those for a couple years. We also were putting money away just in case either of us was unemployed, just as a cushion. And again, as a leap of faith, we're no longer saving that money, and it's going to go towards the building campaign. And we're cutting back on some of our expenses. We're cutting back on travel, and again, this is a family sacrifice, and we've sat down, and even the kids have come up with great ideas of we're still going on vacation, but how could we do that more affordably so that the money we would spend will go to building the church.
And so we want to make this commitment to the church as an entire family, so we want to get the children involved too. And in their part, a couple of dollars is not going to make a big difference in the overall building fund, but in their little hearts and their little minds, it does make a big difference. And they learn to be generous, and they learn to give, and they learn to take what little resources they do have and to give them back to God, and watch this building go up, knowing that they were part of it. It's not just the amount, just the participation, but it's really being sacrificial. It's having to trust God that, I'm going to give this money up, and I'm going to have to trust that God's going to take care of me regardless. And I've seen him show up before, and it's just life-changing and heart-changing. On mission trips where we didn't raise enough money, or I didn't have the faith that we would raise enough money, and I got a call, the day before we had to wire the money over, that all of it showed up. And so I've seen God show up, and it's amazing what happens.
What I'm most excited about seeing in 2 years is 100% participation that everyone comes and realizes that giving to the building fund, it's not about giving, it's about receiving. It's about worship. It's about discipline, and spiritual discipline, and seeing that joy of seeing everybody participate, and seeing us meet our goals, seeing the church building go up, and then shortly after seeing it expanded, because there's so many people that God is bringing through those doors that we can reach. I want to see a building where my daughters get married, and I hope to see a building where my funeral will be held. I want to have a long-term investment in this community and in God's missional work here.